Thiago Saporito. That is the feature match area of Grand Prix Madison, and Rich Hagan and Randy Buehler are going to walk you through round number 5 between Thiago Saporito and Fabrizio Anteri. And Randy, we already see 3 planes and an island. What else is Fabrizio going to run?
It's a blue-white mirror match.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no third land for Thiago.
Right, so Felidar Cub will get in, a chance to sacrifice it to destroy an enchantment, but basically it's a 2-2 for 2, and Fabrizio doesn't have much going on here either with third planes.
One guy doesn't have a third land, the other guy doesn't have a second color.
Yeah, now here's tightening coils. Let's make that a -4 to not have flying Felidar Cub.
Well, Anteri can always blow up an enchantment at a moment's notice.
Oof, oof. Feel the power. So, not exactly a blazing start here, and that's going to clog up the ground quite a bit. There's a fortified rampart, 0-6, and Randy, a card that we've sort of categorized slightly differently than perhaps a lot of players would expect. It's not just a defensive card, it's sort of removal-ish.
Indeed.
Discard.
Yep. More white mana. Yeah, fortified ramparts. I like it, especially, I think, in a blue-white deck. Blue-white tends to be the deck that's full of flyers. And so just having an 0-6 that can come down on turn 2 and block whatever they happen to be trying to attack you with can buy you a lot of time. I mean, effectively, it's going to blank one of your opponent's creatures, or they're going to have to spend a card getting rid of it.
So here's Incubator Drone for Thiago Saporito. The Brazilian on the left of your screen brings with it the first of what could be many Eldrazi Scion in this match.
Yeah, 4th land showed up for Thiago, and blue land showed up for Fabrizio, so
and
game on.
Yeah, and 5 mana became potentially 7 or 8 next turn because that's Kozilek's Channeler. The 4-4 for 5 mana taps for 2. Thiago with the full grip says, I'm going to make a 1-4 unblockable Benthic Infiltrator, which has Ingest. So we may see some exile cards happening for Fabrizio.
Thiago's just attacking. We need 7 mana when you have a 4-4 you can attack with. Wow, triple block?
So, against...
Triple block and cross your fingers?
Well, the thing is, he's got 1 white mana, so you have to respect Lithomancer's focus potentially out of Saporito to give something +2/+2. Now, can't tell whether he actually has that sitting there, but that's certainly a possibility. I see a Felidar Sovereign in his hand. That's a long way off right now from doing good work. There we are. There's the order. I want to get rid of the Scion first. And we're just going to end up with a straight 2-for-1. No tricks either way. Here's land number 6. And here's Drowner of Hope for Fabrizio Anteri. Blue rare. And the Drowner is going to potentially tap things down. 5-5, you get 2/1/1 Scion straight away. And then sacrifice an Eldrazi Scion to tap target creature. Right now, there's not a lot of creatures to tap.
Yeah, mostly it's a 5-5 that comes with a couple of 1/1s.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes you're willing to sack a 1/1 just to tap something, but... I think Thiago's shown that he's willing to double block. But no, now he declines.
Right,
a 4-4 and a 1-4 could double block Drowner, but Thiago believes Fabrizio must have drawn something?
6 cards in hand.
It's an interesting little exchange. Thiago seems like he's navigated this, like his triple block worked, but he's not risking this turn. It's just an interesting little sequence from Thiago.
Fabrizio on full mana, and we're going to see some Eldrazi action. It is Conduit of Ruin. And wow, that is Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger.
Hello.
Oh boy.
That is.
Sorry, that was just a little fan moment there. Hope you don't mind.
No, it's fine.
I think that's what Eldrazi are for. They're meant to make you go wow. And Conduit of Ruin into Ulamog. Go find that. That seems awesome.
2 cheaper's not quite good enough though. He got his channeler killed.
If you knew that you were heading for a Conduit of Ruin,
Into
and then you
Ulamog.
had and you had 2 mana sitting there as a 4/4 that your opponent had shown no capability of reaching out to deal with straight up. Wow.
Nobody triple blocks there.
Okay. Yeah. Fair.
I've got 5 untapped lands. I'm attacking with a 4/4. You're going to triple block? Really? Wow. Taps the Infiltrator. Sacking a Scion. What does he have to get Ulamog out? I feel like Ulamog just got farther away again.
Yeah, this is not a deck we'd expect to see Nissa's Renewal out of.
I mean, the truth is, we don't need Ulamog.
Right. We just want it. So here is Royal Spout, which is going to put that Conduit on top of Fabrizio Anteri's library.
Funny. Burying Ulamog.
And, well, I've drawn a Conduit of Ruin. And this is something I can cast. But meanwhile, here's Drowner of Hope, putting Thiago Saporito, the Brazilian, into single figures. And does Anteri just want to repair his board, for want of a better term? Just put the Conduit back down? Or it looks like he's preparing something else. Let's see.
The thing is, he has the same cards in his hand he had last turn. So if that was the best play last turn, isn't it the best play again?
There you see the Venezuelan Italian Brit, Fabrizio Anteri on the right there.
Yeah, we managed to get 3 different countries in this feature match area, right?
Indeed.
None of which are on the continent we're broadcasting from.
That's absolutely right, yeah. Here's Fortified Rampart. You've got the Felidar Cub still there, Eldrazi Scion, Drown of Hope. And here's Incubator Drone for Anteri. Ow, I'm going to reveal Conduit to use Titan's Presence to kill off your Channeler. Channeler can be out of range of quite a lot of things on Titan's Presence, but it's an actual Titan that is present, so yeah, that works. But I'm going to say no, and I'm going to say no with Lithomancer's Focus, +2/+2. More importantly, colorless sources result in 0 damage.
You had to read the whole time, Rich.
He had the Lithomancer's Focus, yeah.
Risked the triple block with W untapped, but while tapped out, was not willing to double block.
Right. So Thiago working out whether he's reached the point where Infiltrator has to stay back, but no, he gets in for 1, and that will be ingesting Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, by. But Thiago's still in a lot of trouble here, you would think. At the moment, at least. The fun bit comes when Fabrizio recasts Conduit of Ruin and then goes and finds, you know, another Ulamog or a Desolation Twin. Meanwhile, we're going to see Felidar Sovereign come down. The 4/6, it's a reprint, Vigilance and Lifelink. If you ever get to 40 life, you win the game. Thiago, 32 points away from winning the game that way. Not often relevant.
No, but 4/6 Vigilant Lifelink. That's a big boy. Attacks, it blocks, gains life.
You could almost say it's monstrous, which is one of the reasons it could be smited like that. In with the Drowner. Put you to 3. Still got the Conduit of Ruin in hand. And Thiago, who's really tried to hold on to his Chandler in a way that Anteri did not, is now trying to work out whether that 2 extra mana can help him. 3, 6, 8. Eldrazi Devastator. 8/9 Trampler. All right, back we go. That 8/9 has the board dominated right now. I always think of cards like Drowner of Hope as a red alert card because it's just sitting there currently outclassed. But as soon as an Eldrazi Scion hits play, suddenly it's like, tap your Devastator, kill you. Type card. So we see Cloud Manta come down. 3/2 flyer for 4 mana.
Does he have to say check when he plays that?
No, only if he's playing Sifka or Martel.
Okay.
I think that's the deal with that.
All right, Thiago. You managed to deal with Drowner, or at least create a blocker. What can you do about a 3/2 flyer?
I recommend doing something about... Do you want to block with your 3/2 flyer?
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
love you to.
I can give my opponent the ability to make a mistake. That's what I can do.
Yeah. Kanaxai in the chat room, you are absolutely right. I was teasing. It is smitten in one sense. It's actually smited. He didn't smitten it.
Are they encouraging you?
I am incorrigible, so don't encourage me. Guardian of Tazim. Down it comes, 4/5 flyer.
You sure it's not Smote?
Smote. Isn't that the thing that makes land creatures not attack? That's Smote, right? Yeah. Guardian of Tazim. A very good card. And indeed, Thiago Saporito's
Big enough to
board
block a 3/2
is
flyer.
right, and Thiago's board is very good right now. And suddenly, Anteri's at 11. His Olamog has gone away. He's used a couple of decent removal spells in Smite the Monstrous, Smitten, Smote, Smite, and Titan's Presence. And now, having had a very slow start to the game for both these players, things are getting interesting.
Oh, that makes an Eldrazi Scion token.
Yes, it does. And the Drowner of Hope being tapped is neither here nor there.
Does he go for it? He just needs to, if he sacks the Scion to the Drowner, he can tap down the one flying blocker Thiago Saporito has and attempt to attack for lethal.
So the thing is, Saporito looks like he's going to use 4 mana straight up. So let's see what this is. Oh, Adverse Conditions. That's interesting. That's a card we've not seen in our sealed builds through the morning here much at all. So this is going to be 2 things that get tapped. You know, I was thinking...
Thiago saw that the 3/2 flyer would be lethal if he let it attack, so he's going to preemptively have to tap it down.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the other thing you'd have been scared of in Anteri's position is Gideon's Reproach, 1 and a white. He had 2 mana up and...
Lots of things to be scared of.
Right. Courier Griffin gains Anteri a couple of life, adds some pressure with more flying action, because Thiago remains at 3. See, and it's in situations like this that I love a card like Ruin Processor. Oh, I managed to get rid of your Ulamog. Hey, let's go from 3 to 8. Courier Griffin gets tapped down courtesy of Guardian of Tazim. And now, this is a card that is utterly awesome when you're ahead, but in a stall. This is your Coral Helm Guide. 2/1 for 2, but for 4 and a blue, target creature can't be blocked this turn. If that had been Anteri's, we'd have been done. But it belongs to Thiago Saporito of Brazil, 3rd place from Pro Tour Khans of Tarkir. Against the man who's won 3 Grand Prix titles in the last 12 months.
Is he your national champion again?
Oh, yes.
Not even close?
No, not even close.
He's the British Pro Tour player right now?
Eduardo Sajkalik.
Okay.
Is there, and there's a guy called Sam Luca Rolf who's coming to the PT next week, who is still very young. I think he's like 18, 19, and he potentially could do something. He seems like he's got his head screwed
Fabrizio's
on.
the guy who's on the train, the regular.
Right, absolutely. Oh, yes. Thiago is going to use that Kozilek's Channeler. And... all right, we get a Courier Griffin back. We get a Drowner of Hope back. I'm not being biased when I say we. It's just I'm sitting on the right-hand side of the screen and Randy's sitting on the left. So just naturally, we're kind of looking from that side of the board. Af Gamer, nice to hear that you helped Sam with his PT deck. Hope he does very well. All the best to him next week. So we are into notionally proper stall land. And this
well, the unblockable creatures are coming over now. Thiago's
Right.
actually starting to
get to the
starting
point
to
we can
poke
just
away.
do it. I mean,
Yeah.
he can activate it twice because he's got 8 mana plus the Kozilek's Channeler.
Right.
So here we go. 3, 5. I'm going to make this unblockable, and that's game. Thiago Saporito wins.
Crazy.
He was miles behind in that game.
I did not expect Thiago to win that game. He played it great.
This was a game where we went, hey, here's a Conduit of Ruin amongst other creatures already in play against your Benthic Infiltrator. I'm going to find Ulamog. That's where Thiago came back from. Don't forget to tune in to Pro Tour Battle for Zendikar. We'll both be there with all the video team, all the text team, the photographers, walking the plains will be there. Oh, and by the way, 400 of the best Magic players on Earth. We are going to skip across town, and you're going to see Ari Lax. He is on the right-hand side of your screen. He's got a Brood Monitor plus 2 Chums, the Eldrazi Scion in play. Also an Oran Reef Invoker 2/2 can turn into a 7/7. Looks like Giant Mantis, the 2/4 with Reach, and also a 2/2 flyer Shadow Glider. On the other side of the table, you've got Ruin Processor, Molten Nursery. That's an interesting main deck choice, assuming this is game 1. Kozilek's Channeler, you've got Eldrazi Sky Spawner that brought out an Eldrazi Scion.
I don't think this is game 1 because I see a swamp on Ari's board, on Ari's side of the board, and his main deck is green, white, touch blue.
Huh. And this is...
it is in fact game 2 with
Right.
BBD up a game.
Okay. Yep, Brian Braun doing. With Eldrazi Devastator joining the team. And Ari taps everything, which is 6. And then untaps everything. Yep, he's going to actually use up a Scion here. At 7? Oh, okay. So we're going to awaken. Maya's Malice makes BBD discard 2 cards. That was a not very exciting Kozilek Sentinel and an exceptionally good Stone Fury.
That's the third of those we've seen in the last round and a half.
The Maya's Malice.
Myers Malice,
It just turns out that people are stockpiling things for the back end of the game, and you can get to there and have a guy, and they end up with nothing.
In fact, Ari has splashed black for it. He added a color to his deck for Myers Malice. I don't know how many other cards he brought in.
Presumably he saw, therefore, something in Game 1. The way that BBD won Game 1 made
Well, I
Ari
mean, look
think
at the
this is-
Eldrazi that are in play, right?
So
If
this
your-
works.
If your opponent is the Ramp Eldrazi deck, like they need all their lands, and the last cards out of their hand are going to be 7 drops, 8 drops.
We've just seen a triple block. And now, welcome to quad block land. I feel like we're on NFL Red Zone.
The quad block.
The quad block. Let's go quad screen. Monitor, Glider, Invoker, and Awakened land. 8/9 Trampler. 3, 5, 7. Okay, you get to keep your Invoker. Meanwhile, Ruin Processor just pounds you for 7. Puts Ari to 12. So Ari actually not crippled on mana, but from where he was a turn and a bit ago, a land has gone, a Scion has gone. He's down to 5 from 7. So he's going to run out, I believe that's the Territorial Baloth, 4/4 for 5 mana.
Yeah.
So they are deep in game number 2 with BBD 1-0 up. Let's take you back to the start, nearly the start of game number 2 in this match. Thiago Saporito against Fabrizio Anteri. We'll get that life bar changed for you in just a moment. As you see, Core Castigators on the left-hand side, Castigator, rather, against Shadow Glider. So 2/2 flyer against 3/1 that cannot be blocked by Eldrazi Scion. Eldrazi Sky Spawner, Thiago continuing the theme with a 1/1 Scion to go with his flyer. And Fabrizio says, well, I'm going to send him my glider, and if you want to trade and end a Scion up, that's okay. And Thiago declines that. Anteri makes a Scion of his own, courtesy of Incubator Drone. And passes back to Saporito, who, rather surprisingly, Randy, is a game up.
Yeah, he played the first game great.
And now he is sending in Castigator and Sky Spawner, offering the trade with
Can't block the 3/1 with his 1/1. So
yeah.
Incubator Drone makes the trade.
Anteri with 6 cards in hand. Sends in with both.
Would you like to trade Scions? No? That's interesting. Counterspell. No, sir. No Incubator Drone for you.
Yeah.
Something has gone horribly awry.
Libel Intel says in the chat, I'm looking forward to seeing a black-white life gain deck at some point. Well, it could be. You may have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, there's a very good chance that you'll see that in action. Today, it's kind of hard to pull the pieces together. A lot of the key cards in that archetype are uncommon and build around me, and you don't get to really build around me in Sealed as much as you might want.
Right. You might happen to find a deck that has black and white as the good colors and has a couple synergies. You know, this card with that card, but you won't see an archetype deck.
Right.
In Sealed.
So Cloud Manta is the latest flyer to the board, which his 3/2 for Anteri doesn't really want to trade for the 2/1 Sky Spawner from Saporito. And now I'm going to use my Scion plus my 7 mana to make an 8/9 Trampler. Fabrizio says, thanks for using your Scion, it's on top.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Ooh,
10.
Boy.
Not quite 12.
But I mean, you know he's drawing the Devastator. What else has he got in hand? Looks like 2 other cards already in hand. We could be heading for a game 3 here, because that's when you make big things and you're behind, that doesn't necessarily deal, sometimes it is just a numbers game of I've got 4, you've got 2, that means my 2 least things get through.
An unanswered Devastator could have swung this race.
Mm.
I mean, or it could have kept Thiago ahead in the race, but being able to bounce it and suddenly create the surprise 4/4 attacker has definitely put Fabrizio on the front foot.
So tightening coils.
All right.
Well, that's something.
Still have to deal with 2 of these 3 creatures.
Right. And if you don't have something, why would you even play tightening coils there? I mean, although we did see that in game 1 on the Felidar Cub, if memory serves.
I can see Thiago tap a couple of things.
Right. So because we've seen adverse conditions already in this matchup.
I don't know what else he would have here.
And
Especially given that he attacked with his 2/1. Right, he's either got nothing and is just making Fabrizio sweat.
Jingo Joe, I can confirm it is an Ulamog of the Ceaseless Hunger in Fabrizio Anteri's hand right now. Yes. That is, however, quite a long way off. 5 mana. This spell is not. This could be a bit of Red Hot Awaken action. Yeah, Rush of Ice. Here's another guy.
All right, adverse conditions no longer good enough. I like that play from Fabrizio.
And here is adverse conditions.
Oh, it makes a spawn token, of course.
Right.
Adverse conditions does make a spawn token to chump the 3/3.
Yep.
So still was good enough.
I recommend Planar Outburst about now. Is that going to save him? That's not going to save him either, is it? Unless he he can't get up to...
too many land creatures.
Yeah, he can't get up to it. Incubator Drone and Dude. You're watching Eldrazi sign in what's commonly known in the trade as chump mode.
Yeah. With Thiago down to 1, the Scion on Anteri's side is now also a lethal threat. So if he can just deal with either one of those creatures, Thiago won't be able to make the chump play that he pretty much has to make here. Barring another trick, of course.
Terry's really thinking about this 2 mana. This is like, got another 5 degrees, we'll be able to see what it is. Thank you. Tightening coils.
Interesting. Yeah, I think he wasn't sure he needed the tightening coils. Wanted to make sure that Thiago couldn't take down his 3/3 somehow.
And Anteri says, yet more red hot action. That's a ruination guide, and this is ruined, I think.
Yeah, and the other 2 creatures on tap. All right, 4 lethal attackers next turn.
Yes.
On to game 3.
Let's play game 3, but thanks for making me sweat for a while. So these 2 aiming to get to 5-0.
I assume Brian held on for that game too. Sure felt like when we left that game, Brian was just, he was on the attack. He had a couple of Eldrazi in play.
Right. Yeah, he seemed in very good shape.
Ari was just scrambling to come up with anything that could potentially block.
Yeah, BBD did indeed get there, so he is a winner. We have a turbo match to bring you later in the round.
Result.
Oh, no.
I don't even want to know it.
No. We get to see it at super speed. And if you want to see people stumble over card names, Turbo will do that for you. I've got my fingers crossed for once we finally hit a turbo match where you're trying to say both card names and what things do for people unfamiliar with them at double speed. That's going to be a bit of an adventure, but we'll share it together. And thanks to all of you watching in the chat room. If you're watching us but not in the chat room, you're kind of doing it wrong, because there are an awful lot of really good people there having a good time enjoying Magic together. So if you do have the chance to watch and be in the chat room, do come join us. It'd be great to have you there. So Fabrizio Anteri, ignoring the British angle, because obviously there is that, but ignoring that, I mean, this guy has a real interesting story in that he has, as I say, 3 Grand Prix titles in the last 12-15 months, and is one of the absolute highest rated GP players for the Pro Tour next week. Of the 413 players qualified, he is sort of in the top 5 for GP success in terms of percentage. As here we go into game number 2, and Stonehaven Medic is the first play for Anteri, which is not a card that is necessarily very good, but it does trade with a 3/1.
Get used to that card. It actually is good.
Okay.
The way the format plays out,
it's decent.
Playing a 1/3 is nice. Having incidental life gain is nice. It's particularly good given how many cards have synergy with gaining life. Yeah, that card is... Like, you don't put that card... I think the card just makes the cut all the time.
Okay.
It may not have been immediately obvious from looking at it.
Certainly not to me, so I give you that one. Good to know. Courier Griffin is down for Fabrizio Anteri. He's up against an Eldrazi Sky Spawner plus Scion.
It's particularly in the blue-white decks, where they just want to block early and stay alive. They like the life, they like the body.
And they want their Awaken to be Awaken and be therefore costing 5, 6, 7, not 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Anteri will add 3/2 flyer to the board. This suddenly feels like I'm playing core set sealed. It's like, so here's my 2/3 flyer, now here's my 3/2 flyer. You've got a 2/1 flyer. And here's Felidar Sovereign. 4/6.
Thiago definitely has the Felidar advantage in this match. All Fabrizio has is a Cub.
Right. But it got coil tightened. I don't think you would feel tightened if that happened. Now this, Titan's Presence, that feels tightened. I'm going to show you Drowner of Hope to get rid of that. Remember, it's not interested in the toughness, so the 5 off the Drowner of Hope is enough to deal with the 4 of the power of the Sovereign. And Fabrizio will offer what looked like a trade, but Thiago is super quick to go block and snap off the Lithomancer's focus. One of the nicest and cheapest tricks in the format. And Saporito now will use up all the mana in the world to get to Eldrazi Devastator. So we are in the land of 8-9 trample once again. And Fabrizio now really starting to be costed by the fact that he only has 4 mana in land terms and a one-shot deal of land number 5, if you will, off the Eldrazi Scion. So 3. This is going to go Royal Spout this to the top of your library, but that's not great for Anteri because that's another Awaken card he doesn't have.
Yeah, I mean, you do what you got to do.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's certainly not in any sense wrong, but
hoping he can draw into something.
Yeah. Anteri with Cloud Manta and a drone, having lost the Scion. He does have another land. Incubator not going to do an awful lot. Cloud Manta comes in though, being aggressive where he can, Anteri.
Take 8, no problem.
So much mana. Oof, here's Guardian of Tazim again. Yep.
11-11, it's all tied up.
Things, yes, that's one way of approaching. I'm not sure that's entirely the whole story. I think basically from turn 5 of game 1, this entire match has been going downhill for Anteri. Just take away that moment where you cast Conduit of Ruin and reveal Dolomog, and then just 5? Go something around there. Turn 6, yeah. Yes, I don't think it accelerated into it. It was just a natural conduit. But it is Saporito who is doing the ruining here in round number 5. Now looks like Anteri is really in trouble here. He's got a Scour from Existence if he could get there. But Sheer Drop will do it just as nicely, thank you. So the Devastator is gone. So now the main threat is Guardian of Tazim. Unless I've imagined that Scour from Existence, actually Anteri is in somewhat better shape than he was 20 seconds ago. Because that exiles a target permanent for 7 mana at instant speed. Incubator Drone is going to get tapped down here. Oh, here's Awaken. You see, this is the Royal Spout with Awaken.
Yep.
In I come for 10. No, not 10, 8. Fabrizio at 3. Here's Drowner of Hope. Okay. So my Scion can buy me some space here, potentially. Thiago says I want some gas. So now my Hedron Archive goes away. Draw me 2 cards.
Island, crucially.
Yeah, so Drowner of Hope gets tapped, and so I'm going to tap your guys down. Anteri draws a land. Is that enough to save him by scouring?
I mean, it buys him a turn versus the board.
4 mana, Cloud Manta, pass the turn. It's a 4/4 Awaken, a 4/5
and
Guardian.
A land.
Yeah, that's the game. Game, set, match. Thiago Saporito, Brazil. 3rd place at Pro Tour Khans of Tarkir. Is he wearing a Pro Tour Khans of Tarkir shirt? Maybe not. No. Fate Reforged. Okay, fair enough. It's like, and here we go. It is Ben Rubin against Jerry Thompson. I can tell you, it's mountain, 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 plains, mountain, plains. I'm 6 for 6. Now things get hard. All right, Hedron Archive from Ben Rubin up against Ondu Greathorn. That's 2/3 and becomes first strike as a 4/5 with Landfall. Rubin, Hall of Famer, of course. That's Molten Nursery, so he then reaches out with Touch of the Void,
Wow.
will kill the Ondu Great Horn, and will also deal a point courtesy of the Molten Nursery.
Yeah, I see people look at Molten Nursery as unplayable, and I feel like if your deck is all colorless, one to a creature or a player, it's going to add up.
So that is Ulamog's Despoiler. They talk about him a lot in Jamaica. It's 5/5. Could be 9/9 sometimes, but not this time. Doesn't need it to be this time. You got a Scion for me off my incubator drone? Thanks so much. Jerry Thompson thoughtfully playing just 7 land
Yeah,
this game.
7 lands, 1 spell? What has he got? What is he holding?
Yeah. So that looks like Encircling Fissure with Awaken.
Interesting.
So I'm going to prevent all the damage from colorless sources, which, by the way, everything you just did was. And I awaken my guy. It's only a 2/2, though. The awaken, I think it's the only awaken 2, if memory serves, in the set. And it's kind of disappointing. Tide Drifter, Molten Nursery, shoot it.
Trigger.
My board is enormous. Do you have Planar Outburst? Is it going to save you anyway? Look at that! Yes, actually. Thanks for asking. I do.
Makes sense why Jerry didn't play any cards.
We don't even have
deck
deck
lists.
list. I'm going to say, we must make that clear.
You said you were going to have trouble naming the cards, Rich.
It's true.
You're getting them right even before they're played.
Okay, it's time for me to quit. A Valakut Predator, I think. 2/2, landfall heads upwards. So go and draw a couple of extra cards for Ben Rubin.
Planar Outburst is insane.
Yeah.
It's just the perfect lesson on why Wrath of God is such a good limited card. You just do nothing. Play a trick, make them convinced maybe you're missing a color, maybe you're just flooded. They go for the kill, and then you sweep everything away. 4 for 1.
Ulamog's Reclaimer. Gideon's Reproach from Jerry Thompson in what is turning out to be a very hardcore red-white control deck. Yeah, now I can see your point about Stonehaven Medic. Like a turn 2 Stonehaven Medic from Jerry Thompson here would have been a perfectly acceptable turn 2 play. Watching and learning.
Like I think you're right. I think it's probably just a better 2-drop than Felidar Cub. Like what are the enchantments you're blowing up?
That's fair. Another Ondu Great Horn, which is going to be reached out with Touch of the Void plus the 1 damage from Molten Nursery, which is really doing work here for Ben Rubin. Though the board, and here's Angelic Captain for Jerry Thompson, who is starting just taking command here. Planar Outburst will do that for you. But it's gone.
Yeah, Molten Nursery's doing work. And Jerry may be up enough cards from that Planar Outburst, but it's not Molten Nursery's fault if Ben Rubin loses this game.
And this is Vile Aggregate, which right now is not at its best, it is fair to say, but its best is very, very good. A McKinley Patrol 2/3 gets Vigilance and gives Vigilance. In comes the Vile Aggregate after another colorless creature comes down.
Was that a Ruination Sage?
A Ruination Guide, I think it might
A Ruination Guide,
be.
right. So he said it actually gets a hit for 2.
Yes, indeed.
Plus the 1 from the Molten Nursery. Don't know the life totals, but Ben might still be able to win this.
This is Turn Against. 4 and a red. A card that I would say Friday Night Magic players adore, and pros are like, I'm pretty sure I have a way to get around this.
It did exactly what it's supposed to do there.
Yeah.
Stole a creature in the middle of combat, threw it into a block.
We get a lot of people coming to the booth with stories from games. Someone had their Desolation Twin stolen with Turn Against to block the other half of the Desolation Twin. It was, what is Twinicide? It's not Fratricide. Well, yeah, they're not brothers, so it's not Fratricide. It's not Matricide, Patricide. It's Iticide, I guess. I don't know. Pretty brutal in any case. So here is Bane of Balaged. And there was Bane of Balaged because it was scoured out of existence.
Ben Rubin's going to win this game anyway, isn't he?
He's got Cosmic Sentinel, another point off the Molten Nursery. Jerry with 5. Hero of Goma Fada makes everything indestructible. But not on this turn, it doesn't. And there's another scour, and it's 1-0 to Ben Rubin. Oh, boy. That would have been an awesome game at normal speed. At turbo speed, that was just fantastic. So much fun. Twinicide just seems to be the basic starting point in the chat. Twinicide. There's got to be something better than that. There's got to be something truly painful. So here we go with game number 2, and we're underway with Kozilek Sentinel opposite Felidar Cub. And now that is the Herald.
Yes, it is.
As I call it, the Courser of Kozilek. The 2-4 for 3 that makes your colorless creatures cost 1 less. Here's Tide Drifter, uncommon.
I'm playing in pre-combat to trigger the Sentinel, of course.
Right, so that's now a 2-4, but it's a 2-5 because the Tide Drifter says other colorless creatures you control get +0/+1. So it's a 2-4. Oh, okay. So we saw Gideon's Reproach to deal 4 damage, and then Felidar Cub's going to get in the way of what was a 5 toughness creature and kill it. On to Greathorn for Jerry on the right. 1-0 down, despite a very efficient planar outburst in game 1. Because boy, did Ben Rubin have some late game stuff.
Yeah, Molten Nursery, too.
Yeah.
All that Molten Nursery damage to add it up.
Yeah, I'd quite like to look at the life pad for game 1 and just see how many things that contributed.
You can kind of see a glimpse of it in the lower right corner of your screen. I think that's all the notes about all the
notes
things,
of the
all the cards Jerry saw game 1. He's writing
Yeah.
them down so he can remember to play around them.
So here is Angelic Captain again, which Ben wants to have a quick read, which is perfectly reasonable. Not everyone knows all the cards straight away, and no reason you should. That's part of the reason for playing an event like this for the pros. It is a 4/3 flyer, and when it attacks, it gains +1/+1 until end of turn for each other attacking ally. At least that's what it would have done if we hadn't been watching a turbo match where it just dies very quickly. But that's what it could do next time you see one. Worth bearing in mind that Jerry has a spawning bed near the top of his land as you look on the right there, so should he want... Oh, hello! Dragon Master Outcast. I've got enough land. Breaker of Armies the other side. We're about to see 5/5 dragons for free. Breaker of Armies goes and fetches Bane of Balaged. Oh, Lord. I believe this is what we call Haymaker magic. There's a 5/5 dragon. I know it doesn't look like it. You just have to trust us. That's what it is. Oh. Oh, boy.
Clutch.
Yes.
Bounce that. Awaken my land.
Make another dragon next time. Good game. Good match.
Wow.
Done. Done. So that... I mean, it wasn't that quick in reality, but my word. So there we go. That's Turbo here at Battle for Zendikar.